Hello anime fans, today I make a recap of an anime, named Skeleton Knight in Another World. I hope you enjoyed watching it. What would you do if you suddenly woke up in a strange world and discovered that you have magical powers? The story begins with our protagonist named Ark waking from his slumber. He has no clue where he is and is shocked to see that he is in a suit of armor. After calming down, he realizes that he's inside of the body of his game character. Ark, recalling that he fell asleep after playing the game. In great detail he lists parts of his gear and their attributes, including fire resistance and mana regeneration, to name a few. He is also very familiar with his sword, which he says strikes as fast as the lightning. To test out his abilities, he performs all the attacks and magic spells his game character could. Only they're even more powerful now. He can even use some skills he couldn't use in the game before. Now his stomach starts rumbling, so he decides to eat first. Ark tries to use a teleportation spell that allows him to teleport to places he has already been, but it fails since he hasn't been anywhere yet. He gets around this by using a different spell that allows him to teleport in a short range. He stops by a large body of water and sees his reflection. Ark is surprised to see that his face is just a skull and remembers that he had chosen a skeleton as his avatar. He fears that townspeople will see him as a monster and intends to avoid causing any type of commotion by keeping his helmet on whenever he is around others. He fears that if he entered a town without wearing his helmet, he'd be treated as a monster. The name of the town is Luviord, and after exploring the place a bit, Ark encounters a woman arguing with an investigator over his failure to obtain the information she hired him for. As it turns out, the woman was an elf, which amazes Ark, but he soon loses sight of her. Later he finds the town's mercenary guild, and upon entering it tries to acquire a license. Initially the male receptionist claims that he'd be pointless for him to get one as he appears to be well employed already due to the armor he's wearing, so Ark gives an excuse and the receptionist believes it but informs him that before he can get one he'll have to pass a trial. The trial entails that Ark must bring back proof of subjugation of one of three things: a beast, monster, or bandit. Wasting no time, Ark leaves the guild. Afterward Ark slays a couple of boars and then an orc, carrying the proof of subjugation, but stops on his way back when Ark spots a group of bandits surrounding a carriage. Who slays the guards and surround a noble lady in her maid the bandits take advantage of. He sees that two women are being attacked by a group of bandits. He takes a moment to think about how he is outnumbered and how that usually means failure, but is able to find confidence in his top-tier gear. With a couple swings of his sword, Ark vanquishes all the bandits and rescues the two women they introduced as themselves as Lauren and her servant Rita. Rita asks Ark if he is a knight in service of a lord, but he says they can talk later as first they need to get dressed. He thinks to himself though how his character's premise is that he was hit with a curse and is on a journey to find a cure. He disposes of the bandits' bodies and surprises himself with his lack of guilt considering he has never killed before. Ark is delighted to see that the girls are not paying attention to him, giving him the opportunity to loot the bandits. The two women thank him for the help, but all he can think of is getting back to enjoy a meal on the way back. They thank him again and Ark notices Lauren's admiring glare as he formally introduces himself. He arrives back at the guild and the clerk informs him that he should always remember to take the rune stones from any monsters he kills, as they can be turned into magic items and weapons. He gives Ark his license and shows him the measly board of quests, explaining that the best quests are for those that join a mercenary guild. Ark finally enjoys his meal and gets excited for the following day. The next day Ark receives his first mission, which involves guarding a girl named Marka. He arrives at Marka's house and she is surprised that a knight like Ark has taken up this mission. Ark is also surprised after realizing that Marka is just a young girl, but he still decides to complete the mission. They journey through the woods and Ark wonders why Marka is in a hurry to complete the mission. Marka explains that she doesn't want her mother Siona, who has become overprotective since Marka's father died, to find out about the mission. She further states that she wants to make her mother happy, as it used to be her father's job to pick the herbs, and Ark is surprised at how noble her cause is despite her young age. He helps her gather the medicine herbs, however Ark senses a monster nearby. While Marka explains the function of each plant, the monster proceeds to attack. However, he discovers that the monster is just a kitsune, although its left leg appears to be injured. Ark heals the monster with his power and the kitsune decides to follow him in gratitude for saving his life. Ark names the animal Ponta due to its fluffy tail, and they continue their quest. Meanwhile, back in Marka's village, Siona finds out that Marka is in the woods, which are filled with dangerous monsters, and she starts to panic. Back in the woods, Marka finally finds the kobumi tree, an all-white tree filled with lots of medicinal herbs. She approaches the tree but doesn't realize that she is in the territory of the basilisk. Marka becomes scared and is unable to move while the monster attacks her. However, Ark steps in just in time with a superhero entrance and saves her from the basilisk. The beast releases a powerful poison fog, but Ark evades the attack with ease. Having fought the monster before while he was playing the game, Ark is able to anticipate attacks and protect Marka. The basilisk launches a series of attacks, forcing Ark to use the shield of Tuatates to protect himself and Marka. He launches a counterattack and slays the beast with a devastating attack called Judgment. Marka is amazed at Ark's power and wants to tell the whole town about him, but he begs her not to say anything as he is trying not to garner unwanted attention. Ark then notices a strange ring around the neck of the basilisk, but it disappears before he is able to examine the item. Then Ark spots a fang boar and kills it before escorting Marka back to the village with the boar in hand. Siona reunites with Marka and is happy to see that she is not hurt. Siona questions why she went to the woods despite knowing how dangerous it is, and Marka reveals the flowers of the kobumi tree to her. Ark apologizes for taking Marka into the woods without her mother's permission. He begs Siona not to punish Marka, and she only did it because she loves her. Moments after, Ark informs the villagers that he has taken care of the monsters in the woods, although he does not tell them about the basilisk. Later that day, Ark leaves the village with Ponta on his shoulders and promises Marka that he will see her again. Elsewhere, a group of knights manages to bring down a basilisk with a ring around its neck with great difficulty and multiple casualties. As they journey on, they find the basilisk and notice that it was killed by a single strike with an extremely large sword. The general is surprised by this and wonders who could have taken down such a powerful beast with a single hit. Back at home, Ark and Ponta celebrate the completion of their first mission, and he decides to accept a very challenging task. A few days later, in a cave, we see a group of bandits run away from Ark as he has just decimated their entire group. He finishes off the bandits and thinks to himself how happy he is to be completing casual quests to cover his daily expenses. He finds her stash of gold and takes some loot, but also sees a couple cages and thinks nothing of it. Elsewhere, it is revealed that the attack on Lauren was actually a failed assassination ordered by Lord Dianto. Dianto is shocked to hear that the plan is foiled due to a single mercenary. It is also revealed that Dianto was the one that ordered the monsters to be sent out to the land under the control of Lauren's family. Dianto has an allegiance with the Prince of the East, named Dakares, and Lauren's family has the backing of the Western Empire's Prince sect. It seems Dianto was attempting to destabilize the kingdom in readiness for a war. However, what is most important to Dianto is ensuring that his illegal slave operation goes smoothly. Back at the cave, Ark is attacked by a woman. She attacks him with such speed he is unable to tell if she is a leftover bandit or not. He catches a glimpse of her face and recognizes her as the elf he had seen before. The girl demands that Ark return to children he has taken, but he has no clue what she is talking about. He tries to explain that she is mistaken, but she is not convinced and goes in for a powerful strike. However, she stops as she notices Ponta. She recognizes her as a spirit creature and says that they are typically very cautious creatures that don't usually take a liking to elves or humans. Ark says that Punta has followed him since the day he helped heal. She takes this as a sign of him being honorable and apologizes for her attack. She informs him that she is going after bandits that had been hunting elves, and he thinks back to the cages he had seen earlier. He wonders why they would be hunted, and she let him know that elves fetch a high price on the slave market. He offers to help in any way he can, but she refuses, stating that it is a matter for elves to deal with and she would never request help of a human. She leaves, but Ark is not discouraged in the slightest, claiming it to be one of those event quests where you help out a beautiful elf girl, and decides to help her no matter what. He goes back home and tries to figure out how to find her. The next day, Ark searches for Arian in the woods all day, but he is unable to find her. However, he discovers the bandits' hideout and goes after them. Then we see a guy named Udalon. He sadistically tortures an elf who tries to escape and threatens to kill anyone who tries to escape. Ark decides to interfere, but before that, Arian steps in and brutally murders the slavers. Udalon realizes that he can't win against her because she is a warrior and decides to use the children against her. He threatens to kill them, forcing Arian to surrender. The bandits begin to harass her, prompting Ark to interfere, and they defeat the bandits together. They rescue the children, and Arian notices the bandits place the Mana-Eater collars on the children's necks, preventing them from using their powers. Ark breaks their collars, then proceeds to heal their wounds, and Arian deduces that he is no ordinary human. The children are taken back to the village and Arian thanks him for his help, although she is surprised by his compassion. Ark tells her that he is a mercenary and introduces himself to her. While they talk, a whispering bird informs Arian that Dianto's location has been found, and she hires Ark to help her in rescuing the children in captivity. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If this video gets 100 likes, we will make a part 2. Let us know what series you want us to recap next in the comments below.